and welcome to another gameplay review on the Virkayu gameplay channel. And in this one we have Graves, an actual marksman jungler unlike Jin from the previous video, but this particular jungler is now an assassino, an assassin. Dark Harvest, lethality, abuse, all over the map, all in the games I'm seeing, and it's making him mighty strong. So we're going to talk about not only how to use Graves to obliterate the map, how he enjoys jungle flow and, creating jungle difference in every game he plays, but also how you can apply this to your elo against junglers that are better than you, equal to you, or worse than you. It really won't matter. But ultimately, as I accidentally press the stop recording button because apparently this is my job, it's all about making sure that you hold the upper hand, whether you need to be a bit more passive or a bit more aggressive. As long as you see the way the game is meant to be played from a jungle perspective, Graves is one of the best avatars that allow you to do that, which is why he will always be a good jungler, provided Riot don't overnerf him, yet again. So, runes on your screen now as we go on a cheeky, protective, long depth invade early, and then obviously being pretty safe when we go back down to our red side. You have to really pay attention to this because too many times people go for these late invades and then come back to their red and they die to a trap. And this happens a lot in low elo. So in low elo, don't do that stuff unless you get your whole team with you. Obviously, it's kind of obvious with Blitzcrank. Just general 5-point, maybe a cheeky invade on the bottom side, but don't go on these long-term marathons. Now, you see mid lane is kind of neutral. You know that the enemy jungler, gets leashed, right? So he's going in the other direction. We have, yes, a Blitzcrank and a Pike. Now, I didn't mention it. I hope you noticed it. Hey, wait a second. There's two hookers in the bottom lane and there's no ADC. Well, you're the ADC, right? So this is crucial for you as Fidget Spinner kills a Camille. RNGesus blesses her with the kisses of his blade. We're going to repeat gank here because, of course, no summons of the Jin. We have no smoke screen. Doesn't really matter because the CC plus the flash plus the hook equals ratio death. And, there's really nothing you can do about it. It's a very cheesy strategy. And in solo queue, okay, we die, unfortunately. But it's a very cheesy solo queue strategy that will work, will give you advantages, but you do have to path appropriately afterwards. What is the downside and pro side, obviously, of starting with a level 2 gank here? Now, if the enemy jungler gets leashed on the bottom side and is going up, usually not much. He could reactively path, but why do that in this meta? He could just simply cut across and take your top side camps if you decide to repeat gank, which he did. But at the same time, there holds a certain level of risk for the Lee Sin in terms of doing that, because what if the Graves just cuts through? What if the Graves has Prio? What if the Graves has different pathing? What if his top lane isn't really in a position to help, which in this case is correct? So the Lee Sin most likely, from our observations as the Graves, will either already have arrived at our blue Grom, so we go straight to it, or he is simply doing his red side. So what the Graves does, this is very, very good, okay? This is something, I'm just going to pause. I know you don't like it, but it's absolutely huge for your safe jungling when you want to make an aggressive play. Do the Grom first. It will give you 3. It will give you mana and HP back, and you can kite it up, avoiding any sort of fight over a buff, which really is harder to take and really doesn't do anything for you in that innate moment, right? So Lee Sin will try and steal this thinking, haha, Graves is sequencing up, I get free blue. Graves says, no. I just do this, I get 3, I get boosted up myself, and as you see, he disappears. We'll assume that maybe there's a ward or something, but the ward is here, actually, and he simply just saw the Graves show up and take aggro, so that's fine. But it's also good to know where the wards are. At the very least, the Lee Sin has seen what you have done, whether the ward is of the wall, whether the ward is here. Doesn't really matter, right? So excellent pathing from a level 2 gank into protecting his own, topside jungle, and now the Lee Sin is compromised, so we forced him to react to us. He didn't really get anything from it other than wasting his time, and now we know that he's on the top side here, and we're worried a little bit about Camille, just a little bit, because she's already 0-2-0. As, look, you enjoyed, I enjoyed, we're all celebrating the fact that she's 0-2-0, right? But it is a Trinimir, so are we really, truly happy about this? Now, the nice thing is we will basically say, look, this is taken in our favor. That's great denial. Lee Sin thinks I'm going to go get it. He's not going to go get it because bot lane Prio. I mean, obviously, because you've got 2 hooks and a lot of CC in the bottom lane. So with that Prio, due to your early ganks, they do have the ability to help you there. So Lee Sin obviously goes looking for that, isn't going to get anything. We hit this to check if he's doing this, or in fact, if he went down. If you don't know, if you do know, it doesn't really matter. Hitting the plant, checking and taking, always good. Back to base. Serrated Dirk activation. Jin is now on the bottom side. And still no sums. So he has to be very, very cautious here about this. And basically they're running the support Blitzcrank with ADC Pike. This champion cannot get more diseased, and I'm slightly concerned about top side. Just slightly. Just a little bit. Maybe more than a little bit, but good grief. Do not gank that lane right now. You will not win it. That dude is level 6, you are level 4, you cannot help it. Gank the lane that has a lead that you're getting a lead for, even if it doesn't have an ADC, excuse me. Lee Sin, though, kind of tracks it, so understands that this is most likely the case given what Graves was doing, so he lane ganks it anyway to help his Jhin out. If you're the Lee Sin in this particular situation, right, this is a good gank. You know that the Graves started bot side sequence up, controlled his jungle, would have maybe counter jungled a reset, didn't show top side, didn't show mid, most likely he's coming down again to the bottom lane, slide into the bush, nice counter gank, and get shit done. Very, very important when you have a lane that's losing like the Jhin and a lane that's winning like the Trinity. So look at it from both perspectives in that regard. Now, we're tracking CS a little bit. Obviously, you can say, okay, Lee Sin, I saw him 28 CS. Keep that in mind. Now, next time you see him, you can project where exactly, you know, he's been, which is good because enemy junglers tend to be quite filthy with their disgusting power. Think, oh, look, 28, he hasn't done anything. He just went back to base and bought some stuff. You know, and now he's going to show on the top side here and we can kill him or beat him out. We have Prio here thanks to the Akali rotating. I don't know why he's contesting a Crab in this meta with no Prio, with a roaming support Blitzcrank, who also is accompanying an ADC Pike. That's not good jungling, and that's why I'm making this video, because yes, Ken V is a pro player, or, you know, challenger player in the academy scene as well, and has played a little bit on the LCS stage, I believe, or I might be wrong in that regard. You know, the enemy jungler here is still sufficiently high elo that he should be able to handle this matchup, but there's a huge gap in skill. Now, if you really believe that you are significantly better than all the junglers you play, then why aren't you doing this to them? You see? That's where it comes in. You cannot blame your team, you have to play for yourself, and you will see at the end. It looks good now, but this gold lead that red team has is a gold lead. It is all on the top side. How do you contain something like this? I mean, you really have to think about it. Pike goes all on the ADC and kills him, as you do in this particular season of League of Legends. Now, Camille is still 5. This dude is 7. You need to help him. You need to help her out here, but can we? No. Should we? No. She dug her own grave. You know, she can die. Tough. Now, at this point, we do want to make sure we get Heralds and Dragons, but if they do go in and he overcommits here, I mean, obviously, then, yeah, yes, rotate. This doesn't really help with what I was saying, but you can see, look how much he required, that was required to actually defeat him here. We can defreeze this now fully. So, yes, ideally we're going back to base, but if the Trinity wants to overcommit and really flex his ego, then cancel your back and do your business. Don't go back to base lazy. Don't go back to base shopping. You know, we can window shop in between when we're in queue time. You don't need to do it in-game. In-game, pay attention to the map, because if you miss that opportunity right there, yeah, it's much harder to play around it. And usually they will provide you these opportunities because they think, you know, I have 4 or 5 kills, he hasn't shown up once yet, he's not going to come, and then there you are. Lee Sin obviously is going to take the dragon for you, for him, not for you, for the enemy, while he does it. And basically at this point you're worried about invades into your right side jungle. If we look at the map here, you know, Vlad's in a decent position. Bot lane obviously has a range component, so they should have some sort of prior. So Graves goes directly to his red here. Lee Sin doesn't go for it. Very, very nice. And usually if you don't have wards and dragons and things like that, there's definitely a bigger question mark. We finish our smite quest. We take the red. We see the Lee Sin going up here. Haha. No blue buff. Very nice. Now we can do this, and gank this as we see him move in ward. So this is something you got to trap, right? And track. Trap and track. If you do this, though, you're giving him this opportunity. So it's definitely something you have to weigh pros and cons. Do we want to snowball our bot lane? Or do we want to perhaps get ourselves a Herald? Now, the traps here are very, very good for the Umbral Glaive, but Umbral Glaive is good anyway. So we looked at different itemization spikes for junglers. In the builds video, I believe I talked a little bit about it, and I've spoken about it in some other gameplays as well. Kiana specifically, yes, you can go your Eclipse into your Umbral Glaive, but if there's a Nidalee, a Jhin, or something like this, a lot of vision from the enemy team, rush Umbral Glaive. I mean, it's great. It's only 5 less AD, right? And it helps you clear that vision. Look how he just rinsed cleared this whole zone. He just rinsed cleared this whole zone entirely. And so Lee Sin obviously does get the Herald as expected, as I said he would, but now maybe we can dive and snowball the bot lane to an even greater level. Let's have a look here. We smoke screen in, obviously so no one sees anything. We full on combo the Jhin, make sure he dies with our ult pullback. We're taking a little bit of the aggro now, which is perfect enough for Pike to kill the Nautilus. Blitzcrank just about lives, and you can see I'm tired because I'm confusing all their names, even though none of them are alike. Anyway, it is what it is. from my perspective, but from their perspective, a good dive, nice plates, and now we can go back to base. Obviously, Lee Sin here is going to look, we see here no blue, so his blue's timed out, he's done this, and we want to protect our blue side as well. We don't want to be counter jungle too much here. Maximizes plate gold on the Vladimir versus potentially counter jungling. Not a huge fan. I think we could have held that plate a little bit, that herald a little bit. Because now we know he's going to loop with Vlad potentially into our... there's Vlad again, so now we know we're safe. But, you know what I mean? I mean, now he's going for it. He's not applying the outside in role to himself, which means he's not going to get the counter jungling. He's going to force a fight here. Do you even want to force a fight? The plate goal doesn't exist yet. Graves doesn't have his ult, so I don't know why the blue team is actually fighting. Results-based thinking from the Lee Sin will say, see, right decision. If that goes the other way, it's not the right decision. That's why you've got to assess the decision on its merits based upon what information you used to make it. In this case, no. Because you haven't spent this gold, right? And you don't really need this to snowball anything. You've got a decent map pressure with the top lane. You're doing okay overall, but Graves is far ahead. Yes, definitely. So why don't we try and play around the lane to bust open the map to stop the Graves with the safety? Because the Graves, sequencing well, farming well, counter jungling where he could, good lane pressure on the winning lane. Vision control is obviously disgustingly sexy because of the Umbral Glaive. If you push and elevate the game state by taking a tower somewhere, all of a sudden you can start moving chess pieces and the Graves can't just freely control his jungle, freely defend the camps you want to take. So we'd have to look at it. I mean, that's almost like a main channel video, right? Just talking about what could the Lee Sin have done with the Herald there, but I have made a Herald vs. Dragon video. Go ahead and have a look on the main channel. It's pretty obviously thumbnailed. It's got a herald, and it's got a dragon, and it's got an X on the dragon, and a thumbnail, and a check mark on the herald. So watch that video for basically everything about what I just discussed. Anyway, regardless, if you're the Graves, cool. I don't mind that. I'm upset my team entered, but I'm okay with it because back to base now. Eclipse is completed. Umbral Glaive is completed. We take whatever camps we need. We see that Trinimir kills the Camille again, and now we see Lee Sin again on the bottom lane here, lane ganking once more. But we kind of expected that would be the case, so we decide to go in with the full might of our lethality damage. We flash reposition here, which is crucial, and then we E down again. Blitzcrank misses his hook, which is unfortunate. Q clears the wave, which means I cannot keep pushing. A little bit greedy, but again, as I showed in the Not to Die video on the main channel as well, you've got to try and make these plays, and it does require mechanical prowess and damage limitation decision making, i.e. I went for this play, it didn't really work, let me just get out alive. That's the most important thing. So, you know, learn when to pull the plug on your plays. That's down to you, the lead you have, what the state of the game is, and what champion you play, and how good you are on that champion. Now, a little bit of waffling here. Ideally, we could just keep sequencing and maybe do something top lane, but because the Trinimir has now actually elevated the game state, right? Yes, the Lee Sin got some of the cash money gold to spend on himself. He didn't really use it. We can simply wait around a little bit with some vision control, knowing that they were way too low to stick around here, and go ahead and snag this dragon, because Graves obviously has the lifesteal component, the Omnivamp, and he's a marksman. So Peaches, Smite, they all give you HP back. Now, there's a red buff spawning. We're not going to waste time waiting for that, because that's too much loitering. And the fact that we want to shadows from mid lane here, a double hook bot, moving up to the Vlad, who moves up, which means maybe someone's here, or he just knows that it's safe. So what we're going to go for is a full sequence here. Why? Because if you're going to reset after the Gromp, which you want to protect from counter jungling against the Trinimir, as we do right there, and you go back to base, you don't want to waste the timer on the red, right? You don't want to waste the time on the red. But in this case, it's really a situation of, I don't want to waste my time waiting for another 10 seconds, because what if the Trinimir is taking my Gromp? What if someone's looking to take my Gromp? I need to, at this point, control my camps, because top lane has elevated the game state, so you want to make sure you're umbrella jungling when you know, bot lane is pushed, mid is pushed, this is obviously pushed. You just want to make sure you're taking your camps as smoothly as possible so that they can't counter jungle you, alright? And then we can go down and take the red, we'll get some regen back, and of course we can look to go bottom lane. We get rooted, we saw Lee Sin moving down, we see the Nautilus as well moving down, so we're not going to overcommit chasing, we know they saw us, and we can move on now and go back to base. So we have good vision protection from here on the Raptors as well, but no need to worry about saving those. Protected. We're going to go straight there anyway. We want 11 ideally for the next fight, because we'll get the elevated damage plus the elevated cooldown. So if you use it now, 104-second cooldown. If you wait, can you see that just about? And if you wait just a little bit to get 11, then you'll have a 78-second cooldown. So ideally, no one forces a fight until that moment. Let's see if we can actually achieve such desires. Kali goes all in onto the Vladimir, and we have here this dude just absolutely ruffle stomping the Camille in a way that pleases everyone in top lane who hates Camille, but I know everyone equally hates Trinimir, so it's a tough situation. How do you feel? Let me know in the comments. So let's go for something else. Equal and opposite, good plays. Okay, so if he doesn't, we didn't know. We knew he was gonna pull. We didn't want to have to actually use our ultimate there. It's a little bit of a greed play by the blue team. And now because it's all messed up, oh, damn, that's why Graves is so good. You see that damage from lethality, Graves? It's absolutely disgusting. Now we want to be careful because Trinimir shows up, so we do get a nice ripple Q there. Kali's gonna keep going here and grab a kill back. She has Shroud activated, and again, learn when to leave. Not dying is the most important thing, because why? So if you go and die there with your team trying to save something that's already lost, they take your Krugs, they push the waves, you get denied. Now you're behind too. If you just say, you know what, that's a bad play, I shouldn't have used my ult anyway, but we died, that's it. Sessa, just go back and farm your camps. Look, see, the lesson's here. You got these camps because you're alive. You get the whole mid lane because you're alive. This adds into your ability to carry games and carry when the enemy jungler might be better than you. You know, if he's defeating you like this and he's better than you, then it might be a situation where you just need to maximize your gold income. Oh, the auto attacks just absolutely sting. Oh, he hits that hook. We'll take those apples. Smokescreen means you are not going anywhere. So Q again misses, which is a bit unfortunate, a bit squint-eyed. Ignite? Nope. I thought for a second and then I kind of knew. Again, we are part of the overcommit, but we have no ADC. We are the ADC. And when your ADC is a Graves, that's a low-ranged ADC, my friends. Low-ranged. Low-hanging fruit. Just control your camps. Umbrella jungling. Just swoop to the side paths. Excuse me. Make sure you're not moving into these neutral zones where they most likely have traps and wards. You know, just hang back even more so if you need. And just make sure you don't die. And you protect your camps. It's the most important thing. See, now, a lot of you in low elo will say, this is Julesy. Fog of War, baby. Fog of War, this is up. Are they on it? Is someone coming down? Is someone moving up here? It's really, really risky. You don't have TP. You don't have the ability to back up to the dragon if you do push it, which is a timer that you need to pay attention to. The Akali can do it, because obviously at this point, no one is showing up for now, which means she can go and push this cannon wave. She has TP, and of course it's Akali, so she can disengage really, really easily. And we do need to be down here for vision control over this dragon. We want to control our objectives. We take the Raptors on our way to the mid lane. You know, if you need something in, you know, aisle 2, and you start at aisle 1, and you got to go to aisle 11, it's better to do it in order, right? The Raptors are aisle 2. Snack it on the way. Don't go 2 to 1 to 11, or don't go 11 to 1 to 2. Keep things in order. You know, you want to go from base to mid? Take your camp on the way. Don't go mid lane. Is there a fight? Okay, I go Raptors. Ah, there's a fight. Let me go back. You're just trying to avoid that, right? It's a little bit labored, but you understand what I mean. I have a cat hair that's floated into my eyeball. I don't like allergies anyway, now my cats are shedding. Great, thanks guys. Appreciate it. Alright, looks like we might have a 50-50 coin flip fight on this dragon, but we are lethality Graves with Collector activation, and we have Dark Harvest at 11 stacks, which means we can utterly rinse it, and the enemy team again not in position, so punish them for that. Too many times in low elo you guys are looking for the fight, and if they later don't commit to it, do I help my team or do I let them die? Let's observe. I think we let them die. Maybe we can trap the Trinimir and kill him before he ults, like a Rengar thing. Let's have a look with lethality. The answer is yes! See? That's what you're looking to do. Burst, damage, assassin, no Graves. Make sure that even the Trinimir cannot press a button in time. Good thing you ganked bottom lane and Jin really had no damage, because woo, that was close. But again, a little bit of luck. Good decision making, but a little bit of luck is required to not die in this game at high level. But I made that video on the main channel again, so I think it's a really interesting concept and strategy. We'll lose that, but it's fine. Push the mid wave if you want. We can always look to go for something with Camille's ult. Excuse me, she has no ult, she used it. But we can always look to do something if you're, you know, top lane as a human being. Or gangplank. But in this case, just go push mid lane and carry on sequencing. Farm your camps, never stop moving. I think that's what you're learning here, right? Graves just never stops moving, and it's such a powerful playstyle because it's so quick, you know? He just does it so much better than anyone else. The E, the mobility, and the burst damage really are something else. So if Vladimir's an intelligent person, he's not... Or is he? He's gonna push it. Ah, he's lazy backing. You don't want to lazy back. Lazy backing, you know. Yep. You're gonna wait for the... He's gonna ult there. I mean... This new build from Graves is absolutely, utterly disgusting. The Umbral Glaive buffs really just send it home to another level. And obviously now you can flex with the collector into the crit itemization. You don't also have to go collector, but you can go other lethality items. There we go. Hard words to say sometimes, especially at this time of night. And you have a lot of flexibility outside of your core itemization to really become a different kind of champion. DPS, mega one-shot machine, and obviously crit will amplify that as well. So just decide what you need for the game, really. And in this particular situation, we're going to go straight up for the little DOMs because we have here, right, some armor. And we have here some armor. So it's not a lot of armor, and you might be thinking, well, should we do it? Could we go Chivaldas or something like that? Yeah, well, we have a bit of crit from the collector, and now we're going to add some crit into the Lord Doms, and of course, true damage. Any Rengar mains, you guys know it, right? We still got Last Whisper, we still got armor penetration with lethality, at least in terms of our mythic combination, because it just equals true damage for squishies who don't build it anyway. So it's a win-win, essentially. It's a win-win item. Although, I'm not a huge fan of Collector, but with such a big lead with Dark Harvest, those small execution procs and so on, plus the value of the item in terms of its stats, it does work in snowballing champions, which is why people like it on Kindred in Korea. They don't really like it anywhere else as much, but because they snowball so hard in Korea, you know. And in this game, you're looking at it. You know, the enemy team still has a gold lead. They have to come back from this. And the Graves is the dude with the gold. 12,000. Jesus. Maybe 6,000 gold. I'm in awe. It's less than the Nautilus. That is the most astronomically shit top lane performance I've seen in a very long time. That is really bad. It is not even like Lee Sin was like 18,000 years level 2 in the top lane, you know what I mean? He started bot side. Anyway, nothing you can do about that. Vision control your quadrants back to base, make sure you've got your Umbral Glaive. We do have boots. I mean, we could have upgraded them at some point. I do think it's good too, but if you've got Relentless, or if you're just if you're a, I would say Sniffy, because of Warwick, but Shifty champion, not Sniffy, Sniffy too, but Shifty champion, then you don't always need to complete the boots for movement speed, although it's not something I personally subscribe to. I do think you want to finish those boots to get around the map as fast as possible. Now, Dragon this morning, we've had good vision control so far. We want to try and win a fight now, make a pick. We haven't won any fights here. We need to try and use our lead to win this fight for our team, because our team are fun, but they're not very good. Someone had to say it. Ooh, don't vision, don't. Red team, red. Nice ult, turn back to the target swap. Very, very well done. Beautifully done. Engage, make sure you kill the person that was hooked initially. If he doesn't die or if he disengages, use your ult obviously to try, but otherwise turn to protect your team afterwards, and now we can go straight onto the dragon, and then we can coin flip that. Then we can go and rotate to the Baron. It's not really coin flipping. Good grief. If it helps, my quad day was unnecessarily brutal. So maybe that's the reason. All matter in my body is goo at this point. It's true. The routine, I usually talk about it on my Discord, so if you want, you can ask me there. Anyway, free Baron, great trap, good target swap, and now we can go basically say, right, is there anything of value here? No. Okay, cool. If you don't need any other gold to be spent, don't go and do camps, right? Don't go and do this and this if you already have an item spike, or if you have what you need to go spend, because what's going to happen in your low elo games is your team's going to reset from Baron and keep pushing and go and get caught out and die, and you're busy still farming. Okay guys, hold up, let me just go finish this item because I took 3 more camps after Baron. Just go spend what you can, especially if it's like a huge BF sword, and if you have 500 left over for nothing else, then you can always get an elixir if you just want to close. But you know, at the very least here, a BF sword into crit is going to be hilarious. You can also go GA, but if you're going a bit more crit based, then the damage shall flow with you, I can tell you that much. Right, we do need to break this open, the sucker open. We do have a bit of simple pushing from the Akali, but it's not exactly Tryndamere-esque, is it? And we don't have Hellbreaker, imagine. Neither does he, but he doesn't really need it. Can they just delete Hellbreaker, though? Like, I know they're nerfing it next patch, but I think we should just delete it. Just hups it out of the game, and everyone will be happy. Or at least make it very, very conditional. shit too strong. All right, now we're kind of sieging using that Baron. We don't have a lot of range, remember. We do not have any range. So Carly is able to get that tower on the bottom side. Yep. I mean, I'm surprised. Okay, here we go. TP from Akali, full on engage. Camille goes into zone with the Hextech ultimatum, which really, really works nicely. And they're actually able to snack someone without the help of the Graves, who's now sitting backline and making sure he just does as much damage as he can and stays alive. He's actually a little bit too tentative here, but his team played very, very well, and he's just playing off of them. He does do by far the most damage in the game. And Akali, excellent TP, she does die, but do wipe the map with everyone minus the Trinomir. But remember, when you are the ADC and you are the lead damage, please do not do what other ADC mains do in lower elos. You just kind of yeet in with your team and die. You got to keep your range gap. Use your Qs, use your orders as much as you can. Use your ult, use your fog of war. Use your fog of war button, the smoke screen. Right, we can definitely rinse this one down, I think. Watch the respawn time is 5 up on Lee Sin. Everyone else is up. We don't want to get slowed and killed here, but apparently we do. Why is Graves an eternal jungler, Virkayu? Why is Graves with his build so strong? Let's watch in real time. Okay. Of course. Yes. Of course. Of course. Yes. Normal. He's got a huge lead and a huge itemization spike, but I mean, he's the ranged Rengar with this build. I mean, and now we go trapping. Yeah. Oh, he just got out. That's unfortunate. Go, Blitzcrank. Do it. He didn't do it. Oh, comes on me, da. Very appreciate. Thank you so much. Now, Lee Sin's basically caught between a rock and a dead place. He's trying to go back to base and run around here. We're having. Wait, where is he? Oh, did he actually get out? Ah, he did get out. I want to see which path he went. Ah, he got the plant. Okay. Close, but no cigar. Nice try. All right, now we definitely want to push that outer turret on the top side. Hopefully everyone can get that. We reset, we go get our E. Still no boots at this point. Guess he's a little cash poor in that sense. Do the Raptors on our way to do our soul. So excellent recovery overall for the map, but it's really driven by Graves' intelligent pathing and intelligent jungling. Right, and we know Lee Sin can do nothing and no one can do anything, so we go and push the map. Take their jungle camps, push the waves. I mean, are we really concerned about a Nautilus here? That's not a very good smoke screen. That's not smoke screening anything. We do have E up anyway. I mean, what's the base cooldown on this now? 10 seconds? 10 seconds, but it doesn't really matter because you auto attack and it lowers it down. So you're pretty shifty at this point. We are basing because we actually have... We have sold our Umbral Glaive and gone for Death's Dance because we want to be able to survive in the fights, and vision control is no longer really necessary. I do think, in theory, this concept is very, very good. By that I mean, you buy an item that suits the game state that you're in, especially one that's cheap and efficient, and when you get to Exodia levels of gold, like he has in this case, 18,000, you can sell the item that's maybe compromising your total build set a little bit and replace it with something more luxurious. In this case, Does Dance, which I think's, yeah, Rengar players usually do it. I've done it in tanks as well. And you can shift it around depending on the champion, but interesting move, something you can consider in your games as well. Now, we do have no inhib taken. We do have to be very, very cautious because Akali is dead. We have TP coming through from Camille. Lee Sin goes way too deep thinking, hey, Akali's dead, we can fight. We could not. Camille TP's in and does absolutely nothing, which is basically a summary for her existence. Trinomir, why are you here? That was cheeky. Just a little over the wall, and the Trinomir dies, waiting for that ult to expire. So, horrific decision-making from the red team, really tilted at the power of the Graves 100%. And obviously beautifully done by the red team to kite back every sort of engage by the Lee Sin, and that's why he's really trashed at the moment. He just doesn't hold a candle to meta junglers, and then when it comes to the late game, they just do so many things better than him. So, as you can see, Graves, a little bit scuffed here and there with the words. I apologize, but as you know, I do a lot of speaking all the time with coaching and videos on this channel, main channel, you know, Patreon for coaching signups if you're interested. But yeah, this is hopefully a very good example of, yes, you do have to be a little bit lucky to not die in these games, but if you make the right move, you have the right lead, and you suppress the right lanes, you can usually find a way to become deathless, carry games solo essentially, and just play off your team. Your team just played off of you a little bit, but really, this is the Graves 1v9 show, and their team just said, look, we're being carried, let us be carried, and that's one of the most important skills. If you want the Graves in this game, and you want these other players, except the Camille, learned to be carried, although, let's be honest, the Camille hit a nice ult a few times. She didn't AFK, she didn't run it down any more than she had to. She just did what she had to be remotely useful at any point she could. And if she's filled, that's even better. So just be carryable. Otherwise, if you're the Graves, be the carry. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed and learned something. And that's about it. I'll see you all in the next video.